World War I in Europe was a conflict that changed the very nature of warfare. Soldiers would spend months in trenches, play soccer with enemies at night, but participate in industrialized slaughter during the day. Chemical warfare was rampant and wreaked havoc on all sides. The endurance soldiers demonstrated under those horrific conditions was legendary. But some of the stories coming out of these battlefields have become legends in their own right. This is the Angels of Mons, warrior spirits, or battlefield hallucinations. In the early stages of the conflict, British Army forces found themselves locked in combat with advancing troops from the German Empire in Belgium. The pivotal Battle of Mons unfolded on August 23, 1914. Among the accounts emerging from this fierce engagement, many English soldiers recounted an extraordinary phenomenon, a celestial intervention, seemingly safeguarding them amidst the chaos of battle. Accounts spoke of spectral archers, angelic figures, and perhaps even the legendary St. George, all purportedly lending their protection to the beleaguered troops and averting potential annihilation. In August 1914, one of the earliest significant clashes of World War I unfolded between the German Army and the British Expeditionary Force. Despite ultimately retreating, the British's ability to even withdraw may have been influenced by extraordinary forces. Amidst the fog of war, the roads of Belgium and France teemed with a mix of civilians and infantry, with Belgian civilians hastily fleeing the advancing Germans, while soldiers from various nations maneuvered their wagons and artillery. French and British troops engaged the German forces across Western Europe, facing surprise attacks and significant losses. Uncertain of the German army's primary target, the Allies found themselves thrust into battle at Mons, a dreary industrial town marked by desolate factories and grim landscapes. The focal point of the conflict became the Conde Canal, a narrow and malodorous waterway offering only minimal hindrance to the German advance. Commanded by Sir Horace Smith-Dorrien, British divisions stretched thin over a 10-mile front, valiantly resisted the onslaught of two German corps, with a third and fourth poised to join the fray. Despite numerical inferiority, British forces staunchly halted the German advance. As French forces began a retreat, the British were compelled to fall back westward. Faced with relentless pursuit, they repeatedly turned to confront their aggressors, inflicting heavy casualties, but also suffering significant losses. The grueling retreat saw many British soldiers laid to rest on foreign soil, their sacrifice a testament to their commitment to defending England. The climax of the struggle occurred at Le Cateau, where fatigue and dwindling resources forced the British into a desperate stand against overwhelming odds. Outnumbered and flanked, they braced for a fierce rearguard action amidst congested roads and encroaching refugees, their determination undiminished despite the grim prospects. As dusk descended amidst the British retreat, exhaustion gripped the troops, many having endured a day without sustenance. Yet they pressed on, their resolve unyielding. Amidst tearful commendations from their commanders, who acknowledged the relentless spirit of their men, a sense of resignation settled upon the British ranks. It was in this moment of despair that the Angels of Mons reportedly made their ethereal presence known. One beleaguered battalion, on the brink of being overwhelmed, purportedly witnessed a spectral army joining their fray. Some recognized these apparitions as bowmen, akin to those of Agincourt, their phantom arrows piercing the already darkened skies as they invoked the patron saint of England, St. George. Even captured German soldiers attested to witnessing British troops clad in antique armor, unleashing arrows upon them. Amidst the chaos, a commanding voice resonated through the sky, emboldening the weary defenders. Accounts from British soldiers recounted celestial beings materializing above the German lines, their angelic forms momentarily halting the enemy advance, allowing the British a fleeting respite. A wounded fusilier seeking solace in the image of St. George described witnessing the saint leading troops into battle. Similar testimonies emerged depicting a figure astride a white horse, wielding a gleaming sword amidst golden armor. While interpretations varied, some saw St. George, others envisioned St. Michael or unidentified angelic beings. All agreed on the miraculous intervention that afforded them the precious time to escape. Despite skepticism from civilians, the soldiers remained steadfast in their conviction. Even among the German ranks, whispers of the supernatural circulated. Some claimed to have witnessed phantom British reinforcements, while others discovered fallen comrades inexplicably devoid of visible wounds. Amid accusations of chemical warfare, survivors insisted that their fallen comrades had succumbed to spectral arrows, vanishing upon the departure of their otherworldly archers. The intervention of the Angels of Mons extended beyond combat, with accounts of radiant beings guiding British soldiers to safety, thwarting German pursuit and leaving behind an inexplicable trail. In the aftermath, while skepticism persisted, the soldiers who had borne witness to these extraordinary events remained unwavering in their belief that they owed their survival to divine intervention. As rumors of the purported Angels of Mons circulated, reactions in England varied widely. While many embraced the tales as a sign of divine intervention in their existential struggle, others dismissed them as products of battlefield trauma and exposure to chemical agents. Skeptics accused the government and military of exploiting the stories for propaganda purposes, attempting to spin a perceived rout into a miraculous victory. Nonetheless, the allure of the Angels of Mons captured the public imagination. Even as the initial accounts circulated throughout 1914, fresh anecdotes continued to emerge well into the following year. Soldiers recalled encounters with luminous clouds that seemingly shielded them from harm, while reports of angelic figures hovering protectively above the battlefield further fueled the myth. Some eyewitnesses, including a British colonel, adamantly affirmed the reality of these encounters, lending credence to the supernatural narrative. Intelligence officers and clergymen alike relayed similar accounts, describing celestial beings watching over the embattled troops. Critics of these narratives raised valid concerns about the reliability of eyewitness testimony amidst the chaos of war. Yet proponents countered that seasoned infantry veterans, despite their exhaustion and deprivation, were unlikely to succumb to mass hallucinations. Nevertheless, the post-war analysis yielded a perplexing blend of fact and fiction, with no concrete evidence substantiating the existence of angelic protectors. The genesis of the Angels of Mons legend remains mysterious, with some tracing its origins to a fictional narrative crafted by Welsh author Arthur Machen shortly before the Battle of Mons. Machen's story, The Bowman, published in the Evening News on September 29, 1914, wove a tale of spectral archers summoned by a soldier invoking St. George to aid British forces during their retreat. Although presented as a work of fiction, the story took on a life of its own, blurring the boundaries between myth and reality. For many, Machen's narrative provided a beacon of solace amidst the horrors of war, instilling a sense of unity and divine protection in the face of overwhelming adversity. Whether viewed as a source of hope or criticized as propaganda, the concept of supernatural intervention resonated deeply within the collective consciousness, embodying the enduring spirit of British resilience amid the chaos of conflict. Machen's tale, initially conceived as a work of fiction, inadvertently morphed into a perceived reality for many readers. Requests for evidence of its veracity soon inundated Machen, prompting him to clarify its fictional nature. However, variations of the story proliferated, disseminated as authentic accounts, further blurring the distinction between fact and fiction. Phyllis Campbell's memoir, Back to the Front: Experiences of a Nurse, published in 1915, offered additional anecdotes of soldiers' purported visions, contributing to the mystique surrounding the Angels of Mons legend. On April 24, 1915, the British spiritualist magazine published an account detailing visions of a supernatural force believed to have intervened miraculously to aid the British during a crucial moment of battle. By May 1915, a full-fledged controversy had erupted, with the angels being heralded as proof of divine providence favoring the Allies, proliferating in sermons across Britain and subsequently spreading through newspaper reports worldwide. Machen, perplexed by the fervor, sought to quell the rumors by republishing his story in August, explicitly stating its fictional nature. However, far from dispelling the myths, this action fueled further speculation and resulted in a surge of publications purporting to substantiate the existence of the Angels of Mons, including popular songs and artistic renditions. Additional reports of angels and apparitions, including sightings of Joan of Arc, further entrenched the myth. Author Kevin McClure conducted a study that delineates two types of accounts, some closely resembling Machen's narrative, while others offer different details. Amid the intense media scrutiny, however, these reports of supernatural sightings were predominantly secondhand, with some later revealed as hoaxes perpetrated by soldiers who had not even participated in the battle. An investigation by the Society for Psychical Research in 1915 concluded that first-hand testimony regarding supernatural phenomena was non-existent, while second-hand accounts could not be traced to authoritative sources. This finding is particularly significant, considering the Society's belief in supernatural forces. The sudden proliferation of rumors in the spring of 1915, occurring 6 months after the events and Machen's story, raises questions. Many of these stories attribute their sources to anonymous British officers, leading many to suggest that they may have been part of a covert effort by military intelligence to disseminate morale-boosting propaganda and disinformation, especially amidst Allied setbacks and challenges on the Western Front. Following the war, the narrative of the Angels of Mons persisted, albeit with scant first-hand evidence from eyewitnesses to the Battle of Mons. The most significant semblance of corroboration stems from Brigadier General John Charteris's memoir, At GHQ, published in 1931. Charteris hints at a prevalent rumor circulating among the troops of the British Army's Second Corps in September 1914, suggesting that an angel of the Lord clad in white raiment bearing a flaming sword appeared before the German forces at Mons, halting their advance. However, it's worth noting that General Charteris wasn't serving with the Second Corps during the 1914 events, thus offering commentary from a secondary perspective. Furthermore, an examination of his original war correspondence and notes, upon which his memoir was based, reveals no contemporaneous mention of the story. It appears plausible that Charteris retrospectively incorporated this anecdote into his narrative post-war, acknowledging in the book's preface that he had amplified certain aspects of the original source material to enrich the text. The mythos of the Angels of Mons persisted, resurfacing in headlines decades later, notably in 2001. An article in the Sunday Times asserted the discovery of a diary, film, and photographic evidence purportedly substantiating the existence of the Angels of Mons, attributed to World War I soldier William Deutsch. The narrative spun a tale involving Deutsch, an American GI, and an angel sighted years later at the Woodchester mansion. The article further claimed that Marlon Brando and Tony Kaye intended to invest £350,000 to acquire the evidence for a film adaptation. Subsequent coverage by publications such as Variety and the Los Angeles Times, along with television programs, amplified the story's reach, while a related website garnered significant attention. According to the account, the supposed footage was discovered in a trunk at an antique shop in Monmouth by Danny Sullivan, near the birthplace of Arthur Machen in Caerleon. However, a BBC radio documentary titled The Making of an Urban Myth in 2002 exposed the truth. Sullivan confessed that the entire story was a hoax devised to generate interest in Woodchester Mansion. Both the film footage and the soldier William Deutsch were fictional constructs. In the annals of history, the Battle of Mons remains a captivating chapter, shrouded in myth and mystery. Whether embellished by the fervor of wartime propaganda, recounted in tales of divine intervention, or exploited in modern-day hoaxes, the enduring legacy of Mons serves as a testament to the human capacity for storytelling and resilience in the face of adversity. As the echoes of battle fade into the past, the allure of the Angels of Mons continues to beckon, inviting contemplation of the blurred boundaries between fact and fiction, belief and skepticism.